The coachman informed Lucille once the city of Shu was in sight, and Lucille was amazed at how massive it was. After entering the city, Bazin asked Lucille if he would go straight to the Healers Guild. However, Lucille wanted to restock his Substance X, so they decided to head to the Adventurers Guild first. And since he was afraid to get picked on by other adventurers, Bazin had to accompany him. Lucille was amazed that the Adventurers Guild in the city was almost identical to the one in Meritoni, and then Bazin brought him directly to the cafeteria, where he introduced himself to the waitress before asking to meet the master to introduce Lucille. Lucille was shocked when he said that the waitress was actually as strong as him. The waitress came back with the master right away, and Lucille introduced himself, saying that he was actually a healer. The adventurers around them were shocked, and he immediately felt some animosity from them. However, Master seemed to have heard about him, and he immediately realized that Lucille was Broad's apprentice when Bazin mentioned that he was the healer living in the Adventurers Guild. Then he asked Lucille his reason for coming to the guild. He told them that he wanted to order barrels of Substance X. Everyone was shocked, including the adventurers. The waitress asked again, as she couldn't believe what he had said. However, Lucille said again that he wanted to order Substance X, 3 barrels of it. The adventurers still couldn't believe it, as they thought that its smell was so bad that it could scare monsters away, while Master gave Lucille a portion of it and asked him to drink it as he didn't want to give it to people who couldn't handle it. Lucille chugged it like usual while everyone around him covered their noses because of the stench, and they realized that he was the famous super-masochistic healer. After drinking it, he asked if they could now fulfill his order, and Master agreed without hesitation. After Lucille placed the 3 barrels inside his magical bag, the master asked him if he really treated people for a silver coin. So he explained that everyone had been nice to him in Meritoni, and as long as no one troubled him, he would consider it. After arriving at the church headquarters, Lucille was shocked to see the church's massive size, while Bazin and his group bid their farewells to him, and Lucille was in tears while thanking them for bringing him there. He was lonely after having the feeling that it was similar to the first day after being transferred to a new office. But he was determined to work hard and repay the spell tome that he got. Although he was already at the headquarters, he actually had no idea what he should do next. After entering, Lucille went straight to the receptionist, introduced himself, and explained that he had been transferred on the Pope's orders. He also asked to meet the supervisor. The receptionist used a crystal ball for telepathic communication. They thought that he was really well informed as he recognized the equipment, so Lucille explained that he just saw it at the Adventurers Guild, which surprised the receptionist. Afterwards, a man asked if he was Lucille before introducing himself as a priest named Grandheart. He also told him that he was the person who summoned him before asking him to follow him. Lucille was surprised to see an automatic door, but he was even more surprised when they rode a platform similar to an elevator that was being run by magic. Grandheart explained that it was used to prevent outsiders from entering freely, but Lucille wondered if it was actually used to trap people inside. After exiting the elevator, Lucille met Lumina. He was excited to see her, and he thought it was because of his monster luck. She remembered that he was the healer she had met in Meritoni, but she thought his name was Louis, so his excitement faded right away, and he introduced himself again as Lucille. He thanked Lumina for her help, then said that he was surprised that she could recognize him. She explained that she remembered his crystal-clear magical aura, so he wondered if it was some kind of special skill. Afterwards, she told Lucille to come by her room later in the day since he had just arrived and Branhart was already waiting for him. Lumina apologized for imposing, but Branhart said that since she was the captain of the Valkyrie Paladin Regiment, it was hardly an imposition. Lucille was nervous after Branhart had brought him into a room that looked like a torture chamber, but he said that it was only a storage room, and they entered the room next to it. Afterwards, Branhart explained that he received a letter saying that Lucille was providing treatments that were damaging to other healers' businesses, but he wanted to hear the truth from Lucille. Lucille admitted that it was somewhat true, but he explained about the unreasonable prices for treatments in Meritoni, and then he proposed a solution so people could safely receive treatments without worry and with transparent fees. Lucille was glad when Branhart wanted to discuss the matter with the other priests and bishops, but he asked what he should do next after their meeting. So Branhart read Lucille's letter of appointment. Lucille was given the position of both deacon and exorcist, and he was assigned to exorcise the undead at different locations, starting the next day. He had no idea about his job, but he got excited after hearing that he would earn 20 gold coins every month from it. He was amazed that he got a promotion, but he wondered if he would be okay. Afterwards, he made his way to Lumina's room with the help of a guide. Lumina thought that Lucille was extremely special since he received a letter from the Pope, Fluna. However, he said that it wasn't actually the case before explaining what happened. After hearing everything, Lumina asked what kind of job he was assigned, and when Lucille mentioned that he would be exorcising undeads, she thought that it would put him in danger. She explained that the cemetery under the old guild headquarters, where the founder was enshrined, had turned into a labyrinth. Lucille knew that the built-up magic that naturally gathers could absorb the desires and grudges of the living and conjure monsters and loot. Lumina was surprised to hear it from him, as she remembered that he was ignorant when they first met. So Lucille proudly said that he had studied hard in the past 2 years. Then she explained that it would be his job to wipe out the ghosts, zombies, and skeletons using his purification magic, and she thought it would be easy for him since he has considerable combat training. Then she also explained that anything he gathered from the labyrinth would be his, including the treasures, while he could sell the monster drops to buy exclusive spell tomes that the church sells. Lucille was worried that he would really turn into a masochistic zombie if he got bitten by it. But Lumina explained that although he would get poisoned, no one had turned into a zombie after getting bitten. And then she added that the cons of his job are the terrible smell inside the labyrinth. However, he thought that it wouldn't be a problem at all since he could even endure the smell of Substance X. After finding out about his tasks, Lucille thought that he would work hard to get stronger to survive. Similar to his stay in Maritoni, Lucille met up with Granhart and Jord the next day. Jord happily greeted him and explained that he was his predecessor. Then Granhart handed him his new robe, which is given to healers and knights above rank A, and it is specially sewn with holy silver threads that ward off miasma. He also didn't forget to mention that it costs 10 platinum coins, which is equivalent to 10 billion yen. Then he gave Lucille the card used for the magic elevating platform after he vowed not to cause any trouble using it. And Lucille thought that he would need to be careful after Jord mentioned that the church's penalties are unusually strict if he breaks his vow. After entering the labyrinth, Lucille was welcomed by the terrible stench, but he thought that it was still much better than Substance X. He was nervous after seeing a zombie for the first time, but Jord started chanting the purification spell to show him how he was supposed to deal with these zombies. Then he also mentioned that the undead were drawn to the living before explaining that their drops were called magical stones and he would need to collect them. And because of the terrible stench, Jord left in a hurry after explaining everything. Lucille took out the sword that Brod had given him before exploring the labyrinth. Although it took a while before he met a zombie, he encountered multiple of them at once, so he cast purification 3 times due to panic. Afterwards, he got excited, thinking that he would gain some levels after killing the zombies. However, he was still at level 1, but he didn't feel disappointed as he was getting a huge salary and could also use the place for training. Then he put the purification spell on his sword, thinking that it would help him preserve his MP. Lucille easily cut through the zombies, as it was nothing compared to his training under Brod. Afterwards, he experimented on the zombies with his recovery spell, and like he had expected, it also damaged the zombies, but he didn't want to deal with the zombies this way since the stench would be stuck to his hands. Lucille entered the 2nd level of the labyrinth after clearing the first. Aside from the zombies, the 2nd level also has a will-o-wisp, but it is actually weak, so he thought he would breeze through the 2nd level as well. Lucille's stomach grumbled while he was collecting the magic stones, so he decided to take a break first. He was excited to eat the sandwiches he brought, but he still couldn't escape from his regular portion of Substance X, which smelled so bad that it even prevented the zombies from attacking him. After his break, Lucille easily cleared the 2nd level. Although the 3rd level didn't trouble him as well, he panicked and cast purification multiple times after meeting a group of skeletons, so he ran out of magic and had to leave the labyrinth. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part. And just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.